Welcome to LitFest's program this evening. I'm sure many of you were expecting to see Larissa's face. Unfortunately, she's out sick, so you get me instead. Tonight, we are going to talk about how to publish and discover independent ebooks. My name is Jenna Diedrich, Library Director. And before we kind of get started, I just want to say big thanks to the Friends of the Galena Public Library who are a big sponsor of all of our LitFest events. So none of this could really happen without them. So thanks to the Friends. And tonight you will hear from Anna Behm. She is from Rails, and then I'm just gonna let her take it away for a second. You'll notice that you're all muted and you won't be able to unmute yourself. If you have questions throughout the program, feel free just to type them into the chat. And then after Anna's presentation, there will be about 15-20 minutes or so where we can kind of openly discuss any of your questions that you have. Okay, Anna, I'll let you take it away now.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I was telling Jenna that I think the last time we did a presentation like this at LitFest was in 2020, and it was one of the last normal things I did before the pandemic. So I have really happy memories of coming to Galena and presenting at LitFest and talking about inky.org. So I'm so glad to be back this year. Thank you again. Again, my name is Anna Behm. I am the e-content specialist at Rails, or the Reaching Across Illinois Library System. And one of the things that we do is we provide services to all of the libraries in Northern and Northwestern Illinois, including e-content services. And so one of those services I'm going to talk about today is inky.org. Let me just go ahead to the next slide and show you what we're going to be digging into. So inky.org is a program that we're pretty proud of and we're pretty excited to share. It is a website. If you were to type in inkie.org into your web browser right now, you would pull up that website, and what you would find is you would find a suite of resources that does several things for local authors and for readers. First of all, it supports Illinois authors with online book creation and publishing tools. And you can do that via software called Pressbooks. Pressbooks is sort of this relatively straightforward editing and ebook creation software that I'll show it off in just a minute to y'all. Inky.org also provides Illinois authors with ways to share their work with readers. One of the main ways that we do that is through an organization called the Indie Author Project. And the Indie Author Project allows self-published authors to share their work with readers here in Illinois and across the country. And then inky.org also allows readers to access locally produced ebooks and e-content. And that's through something called the inky.org library. So this is a library collection of e-content, self-published ebooks by Illinois authors, etc., that is freely available to you and to anyone in Illinois. So essentially, what inky.org does is that it allows you to take something that you've written, you can self-publish it as an ebook file, you can share it and add it to a library ebook collection for people to read and to discover. And then you can also go and browse and discover other authors' ebooks and work via the inky.org library. So, and what I'm going to do is so that's sort of a big broad overview of what inky.org does. I'm going to dig into each of these aspects of inky.org, and then we will do sort of a live demo of the website, and I'll kind of give you a tour of some of the features and kind of a brief demo of the functionality as well. The other thing that I have to mention, you're going to hear me mention this a few times because I really want to kind of drive it home for you. You don't need a library card to use inky.org or to access any of these resources. All you need to do is to be inside the state of Illinois. Inky.org and all of the services that are available via the site are geolocated to Illinois. And I know we had some questions last time when I was in Galena because you are so close to the Iowa-Wisconsin borders, and if you're a writer who maybe spends a lot of time in Iowa or in Wisconsin, can you still access this? And the answer is yes. You just need to be in Illinois to access inky.org the first time, set up an account, and then when you travel across the state line, you can log in with your account and still access the same resources. So, all right, so I'm going to go into more detail about each of these aspects of inky.org, and we're going to start off with that first piece, the online book creation and publishing tools. So again, this is through some software called Pressbooks that I mentioned. It is online software that allows you to create an ebook file. So this is the part where you're going to take the thing that you've written and turn it into an ebook. I think I said in the last slide that it was relatively straightforward. I don't ever want to say that it's like easy, but it's relatively straightforward how to do this. It only takes 5 steps. We've walked through the process a couple times at Rails and counted. So the first thing that you do is you register for an account. One of the things you are going to need, you don't need a library card, but you are going to need an email address in order to set up an account with Pressbooks. It's sort of the one barrier for entry, one thing that is required. But once you get that account set up and you're ready to start creating your ebook, the next thing you're going to do is add some information about your book. So you need to give it a title. Make sure that you've set yourself up as the author of the book or creator. Then you can add or organize your text. There is a text editor right in Pressbooks. So if you wanted to, you have a great idea, but you haven't written it yet, you could create the entire book in Pressbooks, just type it up right there. Or you could use like a Word file. If you've already written a book in a Word document or a Google Doc, you can take that text and import it into Pressbooks. You can copy paste, you can import a file, whatever you need. Once you get all the text in there, you're going to select a look for your ebook. So you're going to select a design theme, the way that the fonts look for the chapter headings and all that stuff. Upload a cover image, just kind of give the ebook a look and a feel. And then the final step is you export that ebook. And so you can export it as an EPUB file or a PDF file. EPUB file is sort of your standard ebook file. You could also create a PDF if you wanted to be able to easily print the ebook out and maybe give it to somebody to edit it or proofread it or something. You have a few different options, but you export the ebook and there you go. You've just created an ebook. On inky.org, you can also access some training resources. So again, I'll give you like a very brief demo overview of what Pressbooks looks like and how it functions. But if you need more in-depth assistance, you can find those resources, some like tutorial videos, a user guide, and all that stuff linked directly on inky.org. So inky.org has everything you need in order to successfully use Pressbooks to create an ebook. All right, so let's get to the demo part. All right, and y'all can still see my screen with the inky.org website now. We're good? Okay, we're good. Great. Okay, so this is inky.org. This is the website that I've been talking about and that I'm going to keep talking about for a few more minutes. You've got the homepage right here, and you can see the things that I kind of laid out on my first slide right there on the screen. So you've got ways to create ebooks, take a manuscript or something that you've written and create an ebook file. You've got a couple ways to share your ebooks with readers. And then down here, you've got ways to discover self-published or independently published ebooks, all right here on the homepage. You also have the headings up here where you can do those same things. You can create ebooks, share ebooks, and then discover for readers. I like to come up to these buttons up here. We're gonna start with the create your ebook one. So I'm just gonna click on create your ebook. It's gonna take you to a page where it describes Pressbooks. Again, just some really quick info on what Pressbooks is and what it does. You've got that getting started video that I mentioned, and then some of these help resources, a user guide, and some like quick tips and tricks. But if you say, you know what, I think I know what I'm doing, I'm going to go ahead and click create your ebook. So this is going to take you to a portal page. So we've left inky.org and we're now on inky.pressbooks.pub. And this page is just sort of, from inky.org to Pressbooks, letting you know that we are transitioning from one site to the other. Just a little bit of information again on what Pressbooks is. Go ahead and click create your book. This is the part where if you don't already have an account or you need to, you're going to set up your account. You would click on the Get Started Now button to register your account with an email address. I already have an account. I've already got the credentials in there. So I'm just going to skip that step and go ahead and log in, click Submit. And it's going to take me a second to get, okay. So when I get into Pressbooks, we've got a dashboard page that we've landed on. The nice thing about this dashboard page is it gives you sort of the last things or ebooks, I guess, that you're working on. My last ebook was called Inky Practice. Project that you're working on yet, you'll see a different info. We're going to go ahead and just create a brand new book. So I'm going to do that by coming up here to this button where it says Create Book, and I'm going to. It's going to take me to another page where I can add some information. It gives you a list of all the other ebooks that you've been working on. You can see I use this account to do all of my presentations and create test ebooks for just kind of show Pressbooks off to people. So that's what you're seeing here is this list of test books that I've created. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to create another test book for us. You do need to create kind of a unique URL. It's just a way for you to access the book quickly. We're going to go with Practice Galena. And we're going to call this one Galena Best. So that's going to be my title of this book. We're going to go ahead and create book. It's going to take a second for it to take that information and plug it back into Pressbooks. All right, so we're back at that Pressbooks dashboard, and you'll see that it's changed a little bit. There's now a different kind of generic cover here. The title of our book has changed. This is now the new project that we're working on. And there's some like sort of quick access buttons here where you can like quickly edit book info, organize your text, change the theme, etc. You'll see that these options right here are also available on the side here in this toolbar here. This toolbar will stay there the whole time. So you don't have to go back to this page and say, oh, I want to change the theme. You can do that over here on the side as well. And that's just going to stay there. So you always have access to these options. But just for getting started, it's right there on the front page for you. If you wanted to use Pressbooks as a text editor, you could do that right here where it says write a new chapter. Click on that and you could just start typing away right in Pressbooks. But what I'm going to do is we're going to import content. We're going to say that I've already written my book. It's in a Word document, and I'm going to go ahead and import that and add it into this Pressbooks book that I've created. So we're going to click on import. And I'm going to import from a Word document. We're going to upload the file. I'm going to choose the file. So I've got an Inky demo book that I use for my demonstrations, and we're going to use test book text right here. So this is a Word document. We're going to open it up. Oops. I got to close it first, I guess. Let's try that again. All right, and let's begin import. The reason I had the file open is I wanted to show you guys what it looked like as a Word document, because let me open it again so I can show you this. This is one of the really cool features of Pressbooks that I really appreciate. So this is the Word document that I just imported into Pressbooks. It is Peter Pan. I did not write it. It is by J.M. Barrie. It's in the public domain. It's what we use for all of our test presentations for Inky.org. But in this Word document, the text of Peter Pan is broken up into sections. And you can see that right here. So we've got right here, this heading, Peter breaks through. And if you keep scrolling down, you'll find another section with a heading. It's a couple pages down there. Number 2, the shadow. So these were created as separate sections in the Word document. And what Pressbooks did is Pressbooks looked through this text and it said, you know what, I bet you those headings are different chapters. And so when it imported it, you can see here that it imported those sections from my Word document as separate chapters. So we've got Peter breaks through, the shadow, come away, etc. And so it really is a pretty smart program that takes, like I said, this thing that you've written and imports it pretty darn correctly into the editing software.
Hey, Anna.
Yeah.
Anna, we have something in the chat that's saying they weren't able to see the Word doc.
Oh no. I apologize. Let me see. If you guys are okay with taking my word for it, you might have to take my word for it because I don't think I can share a separate window at the same time. I apologize for that. I will see if I can get that back on the screen.
They
That's
said
fine,
it was
it's fine.
okay. Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry
can
for
just,
that.
thank you.
You can imagine a Word document with separate headings for each of the chapters, and that's how it imported it. So we've got the text imported into Pressbooks here. All the separate chapters here. I'm gonna select all of these and go ahead and import them, because what we're gonna be able to do next is pretty cool. Okay, so all of those chapters are now in my like editor part of Pressbooks. And if I wanted to, I could go into each one of these and edit little things about it. So let's say that, you know, I'm looking at the Mermaid's Lagoon and I say, you know what, there was a little part of that chapter that I wasn't really happy with. And so if I click on the edit button, it's going to open it up in the text editor for me. And I can scroll through and I can say, you know, all right, well, I'm going to add something to this sentence here. And I say, you know, what was it? And say, I don't know. And it lets me type right in there and update the text if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that to JMberry. I'm going to leave it the way it is. But if you wanted to, you could, you know, completely edit things. You could delete, you could edit the look, a little bit of the look of the text as well. You could change, you know, bold, italic, underline, etc. You could add links if you wanted to right here in the text editor area. We're going to go back to the page where you can see all of the chapters. One of the other things you can do on this page here is you say, okay, well, you know, I really love, you know, this chapter, but I think it's so exciting. It needs to come a little bit earlier. So you can actually drag and drop the chapters. So I can pick this up and I can actually put it up here if I wanted to. And it'll rearrange the text for me so that now the pirate ship is going to happen, you know, right after the Neverbird. I'm, again, not going to do that to JMberry. We're going to put it back to where it belongs. But you get the idea. You can, you know, edit your text, organize your text, etc. When you've got everything sort of like how you want it, you say, all right, I'm good to go with this. I think this is pretty much perfect. The next step that you can do is change the way that the ebook is going to look for a reader. And so you can come over here and do that with the appearance button. And that's going to take you to some options that you have for the font and for the way the chapter headings are going to look. And so we've got all these different themes that we can choose from. If I say, you know, I want something that kind of conveys the whimsy of Peter Pan, I might pick this one. And I'm going to go ahead and activate this theme. So that is now the theme of my ebook. And when I export it, it's going to look, the headings are going to look like this and the text will look like this. And then one of the last things I like to do is I like to add a cover image. And you can use, I believe they have a cover image generator. So if you don't have an image that you want to use, Pressbooks will create one for you. I believe that's under the export screen, so you can generate a cover before you export it. I am going to add my own cover. And to do that, I click on book info right here. You can see the cover image shows up right here. It's that really generic Pressbooks cover. I'm going to change that. So I'm going to click choose file. I'm going to choose my cover image. Open that up. And it's going to take a minute to upload. I believe if I refresh the page, it'll show me the new image. Please upload. It's being a little. Taking its sweet time. Sometimes the images are a little much for my computer. There we go. That is my new cover, my cover of Peter Pan. So I've got my text imported. I've got a design theme chosen. I've got everything edited the way I wanted. I've got my cover uploaded. All I have to do now is export the file as an ebook. And so that button right here, the export button, And when you get here, it's going to give you some options for the different file formats that you have the option of using. EPUB is the most common ebook format. So that is generally the one that we recommend if you're wanting to submit this book to include it in self-publishing collections or platforms, or if you wanted to submit it to publishers. The ebook file format is probably your best bet. But again, you have the option of going with PDF for print or PDF for digital distribution, if that's a requirement for whatever you're trying to do with your book, or some of these other file formats. These are also options for you. But once you have the file format that you're interested in and that you want to export it as, just make sure it's selected, and then go ahead and click Export Your Book. And it should be, it's going to say a little bit faster than uploading images, but maybe not. It just takes a couple of minutes and you have an ebook file. So this is my book right here. If I wanted to, I could download it. I don't really have a mechanism for opening it on my computer to show you, but it is an EPUB file. We have created an ebook, and it took, all of like 15 minutes. And that was with me talking through every step. So pretty quick process. Like I said, it's relatively straightforward. And you have those user guides you can use to kind of walk you through the steps for that. So that's Pressbooks. That's Pressbooks, and that's creating an ebook file. Let me pop back over to my slides. And we will talk about the next part of inky.org. So you have that ebook file. Oh, I see some things popping up in the chats. Okay, I guess these are questions.
Yeah, I was just gonna buzz over the questions when you're all done.
Great, sounds good. All right, so you have that ebook file that you've created. What do you do with it now? One of the great things about inky.org is that we've got options for you. We've got ways that you can share that ebook with the world and put it out there. And one of those ways is through that organization that I talked about called the Indie Author Project. So the Indie Author Project is an initiative that supports self-published authors and libraries. And so one of the things they do is they curate and promote a collection of self-published ebooks. So on inky.org, there's a submission portal where you can take this ebook that you've created and you can submit it to the Indie Author Project. And one of their sort of big collections that they manage and that they curate is called Indie Author Project Select. And what those are is it's a collection of self-published ebooks. It's available via libraries across the country. And these are books that have been submitted to the Indie Author Project. They've been read and they've been vetted by editors at Library Journal. And Library Journal picks sort of the best of these self-published ebooks that they get to be included in this Indie Author Project Select collection. So to submit to the Indie Author Project Select collection, again, you can do that via a portal on inky.org, which I will show you in just a minute. And one of the really cool things about this collection is that it's a really great collection for librarians who want to be able to promote and share self-published ebooks and maybe don't know sort of where really high quality self-published ebooks live. This is a place. These are ebooks that are also available for libraries to purchase and then add to their ebook collections at the library. So if you've used an ebook service like Libby or like eRead Illinois Boundless, there are Indie Author Project Select collections that have been purchased and added to those larger ebook collections. And when those items circulate on Libby or on Boundless, the authors actually earn royalties. So if you submit your work to Indie Author Project Select, it gets accepted and it gets added to one of these library ebook collections, you have the potential to earn royalties. It's not guaranteed, but it's a possibility, which is a really cool thing, I think, for self-published authors. There's another collection that you can submit your work to, and that is called Indie Illinois. So that submission portal for Indie Author Project Select also grants your ebook admission into the Indie Illinois ebook collection. So this is a collection of self-published and independently published ebooks that are by Illinois authors. And this collection lives in the inky.org library, which I will show y'all in just a few minutes. Those are ebooks that are available to everyone in Illinois, available for everybody in Illinois to read and to access. And And again, it's that same submission portal. So if you want to submit your book to be considered for Indie Author Project Select, even if it doesn't get selected for Indie Author Project Select, it will end up in the Indie Illinois collection. So no matter what, you can have your book available to library readers. And then there are a couple of other ways that you can share your ebook with the world that I wanted to mention. One is the soon to be famous Illinois Author Project. And this is a contest. This is a contest that was started in 2013, so it's been over a decade now. It was started by library professionals that wanted to support self-published authors and kind of showcase the power of libraries in promoting authors and specifically independent authors. The really cool thing about that contest is that the Indie Author Project saw what Illinois was doing. They saw what Soon to Be Famous was doing, and they said, that's really cool. We want to take this nationwide. And so they got really involved, and they actually expanded the contest to 15 states and 2 Canadian provinces. So for, a number of years, there was a statewide contest happening in 15 different states. They have since, or they are in the process of reworking that contest. And so instead of having 15 individual contests, they're going to do one large nationwide contest. So Illinois still has its soon to be famous Illinois Author Project contest, which you can enter. But you can also enter the large nationwide Indie Author Project contest as well. They have not completely launched that yet. It is, I think, launching in April of this year is what they were planning on. So we should have more information later about that. But let me tell you about Soon to Be Famous, because that is still around and going strong. So the Soon to Be Famous Illinois Author Project, there are 3 different contests that you can submit work to. The original contest is the novel contest. There are now 2 categories. The original contest was for a self-published work of adult fiction. And they, a few years ago, added a young adult fiction category. So if you have a self-published work of adult fiction or young adult fiction, you can submit it to the Soon to Be Famous Illinois Author Project. If you win, you receive a cash prize, recognition, inclusion in a full-page print spread in Library Journal, as well as some opportunities and events to promote your work. The Soon to Be Famous team is really, really active about engaging with their authors, not just the current winners, but past winners, and having them. I think a bunch of them just did a panel for LitFest a few days ago, I think I saw. So Soon to Be Famous is all over that. They love putting their authors out there and really promoting them. The second contest that they run is the manuscript contest. This one was started in 2019. This is for a work of fiction that has not been self-published yet in any way. It's just a manuscript. And the reason for that distinction is because what you win, if you win the manuscript contest, is you win professional line editing services, you win professional cover design, as well as support and recognition. And then if you do self-publish your book, it is automatically entered as a semi-finalist in the Soon to Be Famous novel contest the next year. So you have some pretty great incentives. If you've got a manuscript that you're not ready to self-publish yet, but you think is almost there, you can absolutely submit it to Soon to Be Famous and get some pretty great things out of it. And then a couple of years ago, they added a third contest, which was a contest for the best self-published work in Spanish. Like the novel contest, if you win a cash prize, recognition and opportunities to promote your book, and inclusion in that full-page print spread in Library Journal. And so that's another contest that they've recently added and are excited. I think they've had 1 or 2 winners since the contest launched. So it's been an exciting sort of new endeavor for Soon to Be Famous. And then, like I mentioned, that Indie Author Project contest, the nationwide contest, is going to be launching in April. So let's go ahead and dig into, let's go back to inky.org, and let me show you how you get to that submission portal to submit your ebook to Indie Author Project Select, and then I'll show you the Soon to Be Famous website as well. So the way that you can access that is either through the share button right here, or up here on the Writers tab. Instead of create your ebook, we're going to go to share your ebook. And then it gives you kind of a rundown of some of this information that I just gave you, what the different places that you submit your book for consideration are: Indie Illinois, Indie Author Project Select, and the soon to be famous Illinois Author Project. If you want more information, you can watch a quick informational video about Indie Author Project. But I'm just going to go ahead to the fun part and click on submit your ebook. So like Pressbooks, when I clicked on that button, it kind of took me to this portal page, and this is the Indie Author Projects page. We're no longer on inky.org. Kind of gives you some more information along with some guidelines for submitting the book. And so, for example, if you're going to submit your book to Indie Author Projects Select, they really strongly prefer that it's an EPUB, so you can use Pressbooks to take your book and convert it to an EPUB and then submit it to Indie Author Project Select. I think they also will accept PDFs as well, as well as a few other guidelines listed here. But once you're ready, you say, okay, this all sounds great to me. Go ahead and click on submit your work. And it takes you right to that submission page. And I won't be able to get too far into this because it's going to ask for a whole bunch of information that I'm not going to fill out, and I don't have a book to submit. But it's going to ask for your contact info, what your role is with the book. So author, editor, illustrator, etc. Select what best fits. And then you move through the steps there outlined up here. So the next step would be to upload that EPUB file that you've created using Pressbooks. Add some details about it, and then it's going to ask you to accept the terms. And once you do that, your book goes off to be considered by those library journal editors. If you are selected, I believe you will be notified. And if not, your book, like I said, will still end up in the Indie Illinois collection. So it's the same portal. You only have to submit the book once, and you have a chance of it being in 2 library ebook collections, but at the very least, it's going to end up in that one. So that's the submission portal. And then let me pop back over to inky.org real quick. And I'm going to take you over to Soon to Be Famous, just so that you're familiar with the website. So this is the Soon to Be Famous Illinois Author Project. Again, it's that contest, that annual contest to kind of select and identify and celebrate the best self-published ebook by an Illinois author each year. You can see that they are now accepting submissions for the manuscript project. So if you have a manuscript that you think would be a good fit for the project, you can submit it today if you wanted to. And the submission portal is a similar portal to the one that I just showed you, but you want to make sure you go through the Soon to Be Famous website to access that portal. So make sure that if you are submitting to Soon to Be Famous, you're doing it through the Soon to Be Famous website. The manuscript project, I believe that opens up in the wintertime. And so I want to say it closes in this soon. And then they usually select a winner in the spring. The novel contest kind of runs on the opposite schedule, where I believe they have you submit through the summer, and then they select a winner in the fall. So just be aware of those dates and deadlines. And if you have something, in the back of your mind that you think would be a good fit for the contest, consider submitting it. Lots and lots of information on this website. I highly, highly recommend, if this is something you're interested in, take some time, read through some information about the different projects. You can read about all the different authors who have won, the history of the project, all that good stuff. It's a great, great resource. All right, let's go back to our slides. So those are the ways to share your work. And now I'm going to talk about ways that you can discover things that have been written by Illinois authors. This is sort of the third piece of inky.org. You've got the create side, you've got the share side, and now we're coming into the discover side. And what I'm going to talk about is something that we call the inky.org library. So this is a collection of e-content, and it lives on a platform called biblioboard. And we've named it inky.org library kind of after this suite of resources to connect, the place where you're creating this ebook, connect it to the place where that ebook can go and live and be discovered and read by people. So the inky.org library. That library includes a few different collections that I want to highlight. The first one is that Indie Illinois collection that I've already mentioned several times. This is a collection of self-published ebooks by Illinois authors. This is the collection that when you submit something through the Indie Author Project portal, it's going to end up in the Indie Illinois collection. So you can go and, share the link and share your ebook with your friends and family via the inky.org library. There are also all sorts of ebooks in this collection by authors from all over Illinois. Just every genre imaginable. I'll kind of walk you through it and show you what you can find and how to find it. But tons and tons of stuff out there. It's really exciting to see this, really, really active writing community in Illinois. The Inky.org library is also home to something that we call Rails community collections. And so these are collections of e-content that have been created and curated by local libraries. So they include things like library or community, like historical photo collections, community cookbooks, writers group projects, all sorts of really, really fun things to browse. They kind of, vary depending on the community and what the library has decided to showcase and highlight. But they are just some really, really interesting and exciting collections to browse. And again, I'll show you those in just a minute. There is also a collection of Arcadia ebooks available in the Inky.org library. Those, the Arcadia history books are, you'll see them, they're like little town history books, are usually really thin paperbacks. We've got the ebook versions, but they are those books with those like sepia toned covers with historical photos on them, and they're unique to each town. We have a collection of those about towns in Illinois, about people, communities, events, places, etc. And that's a really, again, fun collection to browse and just sort of a really, really good fit for this, local community, Illinois collection of e-content that we've got on the Inky.org library. And I said I was going to mention it a few times. I'm going to say it again right now. These are items that are available to everyone in Illinois all the time. You don't need a login. You don't need a library card. One of the other beautiful things about this collection is that all of the items in this collection are available to everyone all the time. There are no holds, no waits. If you're used to, going on to Libby or Boundless and having to wait, weeks or months for an ebook, that's never going to happen with this collection. Everything is available to everybody all the time. So you and your friends can be reading the same book or looking at the same photos all at the same time. So that's a really, really, I think, fantastic feature of the Inky.org library. All right, so let's show you how you get there. So again, we're back on Inky.org, and there's a couple of ways that you can access the Inky.org library from Inky.org. The easiest way, I think, is to come up here to this readers button. It's going to take you to a page with some information about those collections I just described. And so, for example, here are some new additions to Indy, Illinois. Here are some new additions to those community collections that we talked about. But if you say, you know what, I just want to go and browse it, you just click on this button right here, Inky.org library. This is the URL, illinois.biblioboard.com. You could also just type that in or bookmark that. And when you land on the homepage, you're going to see those collections that I just described. You're going to see some highlights from them right here on the homepage. And so we've got some highlights from Indy, Illinois. Same thing from those community collections, those Arcadia titles that I was just talking about. And then we've also pulled out and highlighted some of these, we call them award-winning Illinois authors. These are actually all winners of soon-to-be-famous Illinois Author Project. And so you can read some of the past winners on the biblioboard library, which is pretty exciting. But if you really want to see kind of the depth of the collection, what I like to do, I like to come up here to the menu button and click on modules, which isn't going to look like a lot at first, but when you get into it, this will show you all the three main parts of the collection. So Arcadia, Indy, Illinois, and those community collections. I'm going to click on Indy, Illinois and show that off first. So these are those self-published or independently published ebooks by Illinois authors. And they're organized by genre. And so you can see right here all the different kinds of ebooks that people have submitted that have been included in this collection. So you can scroll through. So you wanted to browse the children's books, you could take a look at those. You could open up and read any of these right now if you wanted to. One of my favorite genres to look at are the mystery books. Lots of really, fun, kind of creepy looking stuff in here. And then if you wanted to read a book, so you say, okay, you know what, Bone Shroud, that looks pretty interesting. I want to read that. All you need to do is click on the title. you're going to get some more information about the book right here. And I say, hey, that all sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and read it. And it's just going to open up right here for me. So the book just opened up and I can read it right here on the screen. And again, I didn't log in to anything. I didn't need to punch in my library card number. I didn't have to put this on hold and wait forever for it. I can just read it right away here on the Inky.org library. This is available on this website like it is now, which is kind of laid out on my computer screen, but you could also download the app. It's the platform app is called biblioboard, and then you would find the Inky.org library in the app and be able to access this content. So if you wanted to, you could also read on like a phone or a tablet. And this book, I should mention, The Bone Shroud, one of the reasons I like highlighting it and showing it off is because this was one of the winners of Soon to Be Famous Illinois Author Project. And it is a really fun, exciting kind of like Indiana Jones style mystery story if you're into that. So I recommend it. And then, so that's the Indie Illinois collection. Again, that is if you submit your book to Indie Author Project Select, it will end up in the Indie Illinois collection. So that is where it'll live and where you can send people to find it. I'm going to show you really quickly those Rails community collections. So again, these are the collections of digital content that are curated by local libraries or by Illinois libraries. All have kind of a different take on it too. And so there are some that do these really, kind of elaborate local history projects. There is one library that did like a pandemic time capsule where they had their residents take photos of things from early days and lockdown that felt strange or weird, and they submitted them. And so now they have this sort of time capsule of like the first couple months of the pandemic. And it was things like grocery store shelves that didn't have any toilet paper on them and stuff like that, which is a really, I think, interesting use of this. One of the most popular collections, though, is actually Brookfield. Their library, they have a really extensive local history photo collection. And so you could go through and browse all these different photos that are separated into, different categories. One of the most popular collections is this Brookfield Zoo. The Brookfield Zoo is the main zoo in the Chicagoland area. They have all these historical photos of what it looked like when the zoo was being built and what some of the early animals at the zoo were like, and what it was like to go there in the early days. And so this is a really, really popular collection, and I think a really great example of one of the things that libraries do with these community collections. One of my other favorite things actually is what the Galena Public Library does. They've created really interesting categories and some community projects. And so one of my favorite ones is this community cookbook, where they've put together recipes and organized them into different categories. And then you can go through and find recipes and all this sort of these fantastic contributions by community members that have then been added to the Inky.org library for anyone in Illinois to browse. And then far and away, the most popular part of the Rails community collections, and this is one of my favorite things I have to say, are the libraries that upload their yearbooks. And so we've got some libraries that have just fantastic yearbook collections from their local high schools. And they've scanned and uploaded all of those yearbooks into the Inky.org library. And so you can go back and look at Lockport Township High School yearbooks starting in 1926, going all the way to 2019, any year. So let's say we choose 1941. It'll just open up right here. It takes a minute because it's really image heavy, and so it'll take a couple minutes for it to load. But when it does, it is just scrolling through, a slice of life from the 1940s. And it's really fun to read through these and just kind of get lost in this moment in time. We had somebody discover some of these yearbooks and post something on Facebook about it, and everybody went to go find their old yearbook photos, and it kind of blew up for a minute. And so it is far and away one of the most popular things that you will find on the Inky.org library to browse, and I think for good reason. But so those are the community collections. I'm really quickly going to show you those Arcadia titles, just so you can see sort of what's available there. So again, Arcadia Publishing and History Press. You've probably seen these books all over the place. I think here they're just organized alphabetically, but there are many, many titles, 16 pages worth of titles that you can scroll through different areas all over the state of Illinois. But again, to read one, if we wanted to read about Berwyn, just click on the title, click read. Again, it takes a minute to load because it is image heavy, but you can just start scrolling through these ebooks, and it's exactly the same as the copies that you'd pick up in a store if you saw them in a store. Just information about local towns, local people, local events, etc. I'll just take you back to the home page. So that is the inky.org library. I know that was a very fast run through of everything, but I wanted to make sure that I showed everything to y'all. So quick recap, inky.org. It's a resource for you for creating ebook files with Pressbooks. It is a way for you to share your work with the world, to get your written work out there for readers. It's a place for you just to discover ebooks by other local authors and writers. And it's all brought to you by Rails and by your local library. We wouldn't be able to do this or to make this available to anyone in Illinois without your local library. So it is really down to the library and the library staff for making sure that y'all are aware of this and having us come out to talk to you about things like this. So that's my spiel about inky.org. We've got time for questions, so please ask questions. Let me know what you want to know.
Well, thank you so much, Anna. I'm just going to go through the chat and I'll ask you some of the questions that were typed in there. And then if anyone has any more, you can use the little raise hand feature and I can unmute you, or you can just continue typing them in here. So the first one was from Barb. Do you have to use a header tag to identify chapter titles in the Word doc? So I think that's back when you were importing a Word doc.
That's a great question. And I don't know if you need to. I don't know if it's a requirement. I've never tried it with a Word file that doesn't have those header tags. I'll put it that way. But that is something that I can explore and find out for you. My assumption would be you would either need to have the header tag or have it broken up into sections, like page breaks. But again, I don't know for 100% certain.
Okay. And Barb was also wondering if this works for picture books or any document that has a lot of images.
That is a question that we get often. And the short answer is you can add images in Pressbooks, but it's not great for images. It's not if your the main thing that you're looking to publish is very image heavy. If it's image reliant, if it's like a graphic novel or a children's picture book, we wouldn't recommend it for images. If you're just adding a couple of pictures, on a handful of pages, or at the start of chapters, sure, you could do that with Pressbooks and it would work just fine, but it's not the best for something that is image reliant. I'll put it that way.
Okay, and then Beth asked, can you upload a completed book that is in PDF format?
Oh, great question. You know what? Let's go back to Pressbooks and find out real quick. Let's bear with me for just a second. I'm going to go back to that import screen and see if there is let's go back to our dashboard. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I apologize. Dashboard. Okay, so my choices for import type. It looks like EPUB, a Microsoft Word doc, OpenOffice, a Pressbooks or WordPress file, or a web page. So you could, if you had like a link to something, you could upload it that way. But it looks like these are sort of your only options. And so with the PDF, I know it's going to sound like kind of an inelegant solution, but your best bet would probably be to copy and paste it either into Word or into Google Docs or something like that, and then upload it from one of those file formats. I feel like
Beth
I'm
also,
giving
oh,
the,
sorry.
no, I feel like
have
I'm
more
giving the
for
least satisfying answers. Sorry.
Okay. Um, can nonfiction titles be submitted?
Yes. Well, it depends on what you're submitting to. To Indie Author Project Select, yes. To Indie Illinois, yes. And if we go back to Indie Illinois, you'll find some nonfiction titles in that collection. The soon-to-be famous Illinois Author Project, that is for works of fiction. And so the novel contest is novels, manuscript is a work of adult fiction. But I believe the Spanish language contest can be nonfiction. But if you're submitting to Indie Author Project Select or Indie Illinois, yes, nonfiction is an option for you. We've got nonfiction titles right here. So like I said, it kind of depends, but you've got some options.
And the last question in the chat was, do you have a recommendation to use for picture books?
I wish I did. Because again, this is a question. So Inky.org, we launched this at the end of 2019. So we're, going on 4.5, 5 years now with it. And that was one of the first questions that we got was, picture books and what do you recommend for picture books? The partner that we work with on Inky.org, the company is Biblioboard. They're the ones who host the Inky.org library on their platform. They are a fantastic company. We love working with them. We mentioned it to them, and they have been looking into solutions for that because it is a common question. It's something that we hear and that I think people would really love to have as an option. But as of right now, we don't have a great recommendation or a tool for that. I'm glad you asked though, because it's been a minute since anybody's asked, and that is something that we can take to them when we talk to them next time and say, hey, this has come up again. What's new? Like, what do you have for us? And as soon as we do have something, we can put it out there on inky.org and blast it out to the world and let everybody know. So again, not a very satisfying answer. I wish I had a better one, but it's the only answer I have right now.
There was another one just came in from Barb. When you create an EPUB or PDF with Pressbooks, do you get a copy you can do other things with besides upload it to the indie options?
Yes, you can do whatever you want with that ebook file. You don't have to submit it to the Indie Author Project. You don't have to send it to Soon to Be Famous. You can do whatever you want with it. For a minute there, you had the option of creating the file format that they use on Amazon to add it to Amazon's self-published collection. I have not seen that file format in several months now, so I don't know if that's still an option or if you could maybe take an ebook or I'm sorry, an EPUB or a PDF file and upload it to Amazon. But the point is you can do whatever you want with that file. You don't need to submit it. You can send it to a publisher if you want. You could send it to your friends to read or to proofread, or you could, upload it to a different ebook website. It is your file. Do whatever you want with it.
Can you upload to Kindle?
That's a great question. I think you have to, in order to do that, the ebook needs to be in. So Amazon has their own proprietary file format that they use for ebooks, which is why if something is published Amazon exclusive, you can't get it in like a library ebook collection, for example. It's because they use a proprietary file format that is the only file format that Kindle can read. I don't know how the process of creating a Kindle ebook works, but if there's a way to do that on Amazon as an author, I would think you would absolutely be able to take like, the PDF and upload it that way to create that file format. But Kindle lets you upload PDFs. Yeah, then this creates two different kinds of PDFs, a digital PDF or print ready PDF. So yes, if you create a PDF and then can upload it to Kindle, absolutely go for it. It's just that proprietary file format that they then will sell on their website to Kindle users. That's where it's a little murky.
Oh,
A lot of control over.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions they want to ask? Or anything else you wanted to add, Anna?
I don't have anything right now. Feel free to I was gonna say ask me questions, but send questions to the library and the library will reach out to me. If I had been there in person, I do have like postcards and stuff I could give you with information about inky.org on it, but I don't have, that's the downside of these virtual presentations. But no, otherwise, I'm just really, really glad to be back at LitFest this year, and I'm really happy to be able to talk to y'all about inky.org, and really excited to see the things that y'all write and create in Indy, Illinois someday. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks. And we do have info on Inky at our library. Larissa is also very well versed for anyone who is local that can come on in and she can help you with it too. But yeah, thanks again, Anna, for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.